G'day guys, Wildkard. My name is Wildkard. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching my content and giving me the pleasure and privilege to entertain you, as always, as we talk about the greatest sport in the history of the world, rugby. And this weekend was Argentina versus the mighty Springboks. Before we start, I would like to disclose to the world that I have successfully invented the time machine. And since we live in 2022, we're not allowed to criticize the referee anymore. I had to use my time machine to travel back to 2021 to write, to criticize the referee and make the, introduction portion of this video so that I don't get cancelled, okay? So the thought police can't come and cancel me. And here's the introduction I filmed in 2021. You can't cancel me. This was filmed in 2021, okay? I'm not criticizing the referee today. This was in the past. It was allowed back then, okay? So let's watch my intro from 2021. I don't care. This game is atrocious. Atrocious. The players did, and it's not because of the players, okay? It's nothing to do with the players. It's this referee, James Doleman, okay? He single-handedly ruined this game for all of us. He's an absolute buffoon. He shouldn't be refereeing ever again. Awful, awful referee. I can't believe this guy has a job. This guy gets paid to do what he's doing. Half the stuff on the field, he misses out, and the TMO calls him. The TMO, I'm pretty sure the TMO is tired of doing his job. The TMO calls him again and again and again to look at the things that he's missed. And he's making it, literally, he will be on the field, making a decision for something. And the TMO will tell him, no, that's actually not right. And he will, reverse the decision or make a different decision. And then he'll make these atrocious calls that you can't believe that this guy's a referee. Atrocious. Anyway, hopefully this guy never referees again. Okay? Because he's a disgrace. He's a disgrace to all the referees that do a good job. He's a disgrace to rugby. He's a disgrace to New Zealand. And he ruined this game. I genuinely cannot watch. There you go. There you go. We're not allowed to talk about the referees in 2022. But, hey, you can't cancel me. You can't cancel me. I was not talking about the referee, okay? That was filmed in 2021, and you can't cancel me, okay? So, obviously, the contentious incident for this game was the Wildkard Smith yellow card penalty try against him. So the incident basically, Wildkard Smith was trying to make a try-saving tackle. The number 9 from Betronol from Argentina dives to the try line. Wildkard Smith basically lands on him, on top of him, and the momentum rolls him over with the number 9 on top of him. So basically the number 9 gets held up as he gets rolled over the try line. As he rolled, this is all very pretty basic stuff, right? As he rolls, Wildkard Smith's forearm touched the chin of Betronol, and the referee, James Doleman, under the instruction of the TMO, deemed that to be a dangerous tackle. Yeah, which is, okay, fair enough. You touched the player in the head. But he further somehow concluded that this was an illegal attempt to stop a try, and he issues a penalty try and a yellow card. Yeah. A complete accidental, extremely low, there's no danger. Absolutely no danger. Let's not, beat around the bush and say this was with some level of danger involved because the player's forearm touched another player's face. Nah, this was absolutely not any danger at all. Zero danger at all. And you walk down the street. It's more dangerous for you to walk down the street than being involved in this tackle, involved in this roll, right? absolutely no danger. And the referee, not to mention that the tackle, the ball carrier was short on the try line. So for some reason, the referee deemed that despite it was quite a bit short, for some reason that the referee deemed that the player could make a double movement and reach out for a penalty try. Could have reached out for a try, and that the tackler had illegally stopped him. I don't know. Blew my mind. This was the worst incident of many incidences in this game. The one thing also made this particular instance a lot worse than your typical penalty tries or whatever is the fact that Julian Montoya had a chat with the referee prior to this play being made. So Montoya goes to the referee just before when this penalty was issued, before this try was scored, and told the referee that, hey, you've given a penalty try, something along the line of, you've given a penalty try to South Africa in the first half. In similar situations, you need to consider yellow cards and penalty tries for us. And the referee took his advice. And sure enough, the very next minute, this incident happens. Referee takes upon the advice from Julian Montoya, issues a yellow card and a penalty try. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a referee takes the advice of a captain and acts upon it, especially in such a circumstance. This was horrendous, and yeah, I genuinely don't know what else to say. This was just really bad referee, really bad referee, to say the least. And obviously, let's not talk about the referee or game. Let's talk about the players. We are bigger fans of the players than the referees, despite what everybody tries to make it out to be, that the referees are not the most important on the field. It's the players. So Springboks came into this game obviously looking for a bonus point try, and with the setup with the team, which is pretty similar to the one they had in Sydney, I was expecting a lot of kicking game like they did against Australia in Sydney, but the Springboks really control that kicking a lot better this game. It was very clear strategic change from not kicking the ball inside the opposition 50. So the Springboks pretty much did not kick the ball at all once they stepped inside the Argentina 50, and they ran the ball. They used the width. They used the big ball runners up front to pressure that penalty, and then to pressure that forward positioning with more, and that's exactly what they did, and they executed this game plan excellently today. Something that I really wanted to see more from the Springboks, because a lot of their, kicking game from inside, especially inside the opposition 50, sometimes just outside the opposition 22, seems a lot wasteful, and all of that is cut out this game, which I thought was a huge improvement for the Springboks' overall structure. And it did pay dividend to the Springboks, allowing them to get pressure on Argentina. Got quite a few yellow cards. Argentina received quite a couple, I think 3 yellow cards due to repeated penalties just by being under such tremendous pressure from the Springboks. So really well executed by the Springboks, and really good, management of the kicking game as well. And also, not to mention, the Springboks defense was extremely good this game. They were able to do a very good rush defense once again. And the players were able to read the play from the Argentinian side quite well, and shut down a lot of the plays again and again, and also forcing the Argentinas to drop the ball due to that rush defense pressure. So really well done by the Springboks in that regards as well. And I think the most important thing, the biggest plus for me for the Springboks is the fact that right at the end of the game, they could have just ran the clock down and won the game. But instead, they were determined to get a bonus point. Something that, the Springboks have not done for a very long time. Like, the Springboks has been known to be a team that happy to just finish the game with a margin, or a small margin, and they're just happy to play it safe, especially in that last bit of, last 10 minutes or so, to try to hold on to that small margin and win the game, closing out the game. They did not do that this game. Which I was very surprised, and I was very happy to see. And they pressured all the way to the end to get that bonus point try, and they cracked the Argentinians and walked away with the bonus point. That's something that that's made the All Blacks famous. And I think this is a really good positive sign for the Springboks as well. They didn't just go away with the win, happy with the win. They really wanted that bonus point, and they walked away with it. With that being said, so that was actually really important as well for the Springboks. Now the Springboks are on the same point system as the All Blacks. So the only difference is the point differential that keeps the All Blacks ahead. So if the Springboks can put on another huge performance next weekend in South Africa against Argentina, they could potentially win the Rugby Championship if the All Blacks don't put a huge score on the Wallabies or fails to win a bonus point next weekend. So yeah, the game is still alive. The championship is still alive for the Springboks. And that last, stretch of performance was absolutely critical for them to win the championship. For the Argentinians, I thought the attacking was absolutely spectacular to watch. There was a lot of razzle-dazzle from the Argentinians. Not a team that you wouldn't associate with. Michael Cheika has brought in some of that rugby league experience. A lot of the attacking, like that short ball, inside ball for a ball runner, for short, short ball, inside ball to a flat ball runner. That is like a very classic rugby league move. And I thought the Argentinian clearly has took a lot of the lessons from Michael Cheika and really started playing some of this the game like a very rugby league style of attack, in my opinion. I thought, and also they did manage to do some of those grubber kick behind us well, just like I said with our rugby league, trying to keep the ball alive, trying to keep the ball in field to play, and try to put that chase pressure on the opposition team. So yeah, I thought the Argentina had a strategy that make them they look really good when they try to spread the ball around. But a few things that really did hurt the Argentina. I do think that despite the razzle dazzle, the flat balls, the attack line was a bit too flat, to be honest. And then also you can do this a few times. It might work. The flat balls, short balls might work a few times, but there's no variety with depth. So there's only flat, short balls from Argentina. There's no any depth play from the Argentinian attack. So as a result, the rush defense was giving the Argentinians a lot of trouble, and quite a few drop balls that really hurt the Argentina as well. Thomas Lavanini had a pretty shocking game. I thought dropped quite a few balls that really shouldn't have been dropped. So the depth in the attack line are definitely something that they need to utilize a bit more, in my opinion, to try to, if they wanted to break that rush defense. Also, the Argentinian side, surprisingly, had better scrummaging than the Springboks, especially when the Springboks reserve scrums came on. Argentina definitely had an advantage. 2 scrum turnovers, 2 tight head for the Argentina side. The Springboks did get 1 turnover on the Argentina scrum, but overall, the Springboks scrummaging was clearly under a lot of pressure for various reasons, especially that tight head wing for Argentina. I thought was extremely impressive, considering they were dominated by the All Black scrum a couple weeks ago. And also, in terms of lineouts, both teams were quite even. Both suffered a little bit of losses with their own throws, but the lineout more from the Springboks is much, much more clinical, much better structured. They did get 1 more try. I was repeatedly able to get penalties from the Maul. Argentina Maul's was a little bit less structured. Springboks was able to defend quite well against Argentina Mauls. But yeah, so that's the big difference, I think, for the two teams, is that rolling more. So penalty count as well, a big issue for both teams. Very, very high penalty counts for both teams. And in fact, let's have a look at the stats and see exactly where the stats lie for both teams. So you can see that 3 tries to 6. So to get a bonus point, it needs to be 3 tries ahead. So the Springboks were also able to secure that. Run meters, 338 for the Springboks, 312 for Argentina. 84 carries, 117 carries for Argentina. The Springboks has much better efficiency with their carries. Turnovers conceded, 9 against Argentina. Let's make this a little bit bigger. 9 against Argentina, 11 against the Springboks. Tackles made, Argentina 95 tackles, 19 missed tackles. That's a little bit high end. Springboks not much better, 124 tackles, 19 missed tackles as well. So Springboks defense has not been as good as they were last year overall. Kicks in play, like I said, this was much better managed by the Springboks. 21 kicks to the 16 for Argentina. Springboks, sometimes go up to the high 30s in their kicking. So to have 21 kicks for Springboks, it's pretty good managed, I felt. Goal kicking, a couple misses for Damien Willemse. Francois Stang took over the kicking duty in the second half when Willemse got a bit of a HIA. And Francois Stang, man, he went in at number 10. And just really managed the game quite well, especially with the goal kicking and with the kicking game as well. So the big gun coming in really, really helped out the Springboks to close out that game for that bonus point as in the end. Lineouts, like we mentioned, both teams lost a couple lineouts. Quite even overall. The major difference is more scrum. Here's the thing that's going to give the Springboks a little bit of a nightmares. 2 scrum loss. One of them was a penalty for early push. The other one was a straight up turnover by the Argentina scrum dominance. That's going to give the Springboks some nightmares. And that's out of 5 scrums overall for the Springboks. There was only 1 scrum loss for Argentina out of the 7 scrums secured. Penalty count really high for both teams. 18 against Argentina, 16 against the Springboks. This penalty count is actually really uncharacteristic as well for the Springboks. The Springboks typically don't give away this many penalties, to be really frank. So again, a little bit out of their comfort zone for that stats. And obviously, as a result of the repeated penalties, 2 yellow cards for both teams and 2 penalty tries against both teams. So 1 penalty tries each for both teams as well. So the penalty tries, whoever's got the penalty tries is a player. Penalty try is a player that's been scoring quite a few points in recent times in rugby. Anyway, let's go through the overall recap of the game. So right from the get-go, there was the early scrum penalty against the Springboks for early push. And again, the Argentina start from early in the game showed a lot of little kicking behind, trying to test the Springboks to see what they're going to do. But the Springboks was happy to play the kicking event early in the game and easily defended that kicking strategy. On the 70th minute, there was a 50-meter penalty against Franco Mostert. He walked in the right from the side, pretty blatant situation, trying to pick up the ball while it's still in play. He felt the ball has come out. The referee said, no. He touched the ball. Penalty. Emiliano Boffelli kicks this one pretty much 50-meter out, right down the center. 3-0 to Argentina from 7 minutes in the game. On the 10th minute, the Springboks gets a penalty for building a lot of fast faces. And immediately at this point, we're starting to see that the Springboks are not doing those box kicks inside the 20, from outside the 22 into the Argentina 22, which is a huge shift in the attacking strategy, which meant that the Springboks was able to put pressure on Argentina, and sure enough, the pressure yielded a penalty in no time, and the Springboks levels the score 3 points apiece 10 minutes into the game. On the 14th minute, there was another penalty against Argentina. This was a fairly long out, almost 50 meters. Pretty much dead center, a little bit on the side. But Damien Willemse had the distance. The ball just went a little bit wide. Misses a penalty kick there. On the 17th minute, there was a long-range kick attempt. Pretty much identical situations for Emiliano Boffelli. But obviously on the Argentina side, just inside the 50. He misses this one as well. So both kickers misses one from a similar situation. On the 20th minute, the Springboks gets a penalty. They decided to go, obviously the kicking wasn't working, so they goes for the 20-meter line out, go for more. A lot of the Springboks lineouts nowadays goes to the long ball because they seem to want to work that short side after the more is over. So exactly happened here. They did this pretty much almost every time, in fact, in their attacking lineouts. They go long and to give that extra space in the short side, because they set up the more on that, edge of the train tracks essentially. Not train track, on the edge of the 50-meter line, essentially. So, goes long, the ball comes out, goes to the shore side. Kanan Moody runs down the sideline. He gets tackled just short, 2 meters short. Hendricks picks up the ball, jumps over. He gets tackled by Santiago Carreras and held up, right? Surely I thought he was going to score. For some reason, Carreras was something rolling and hold him up, despite he was diving over. But the referee has a look. Santiago Carreras was running back, essentially, from offside position, chasing the ball carrier. He makes the tackle from an offside position. Yellow card, penalty try. So that's the first yellow card being issued against Argentina and a penalty try for the Springboks. Springboks up 10 points to 3. On the 23rd minute, 3 minutes later, Argentina was inside the Springboks half, and Eben Esbeth gets caught offside. Similar offense from Franco Mosley. He tries to pick up the ball from the back of the rack where he thought the ball was out, but the referees deemed not to be. Argentina slots this one. Emiliano Boffelli slots this one. 6 points to 10 for Argentina. On the 24th minute, Eben Esbeth makes a crucial turnover following his mistake. He redeems himself right from the kickoff. So suddenly the Springboks gets an opportunity to kick the ball out for a 5-meter line out. They kick it out. The line out comes in sets up for a more, as you would expect. Argentina collapses more illegally, gets penalized. Springbok goes again for another 5-meter line out, goes for a more. Argentina gets penalized again for collapsing the more. Referee issues a warning, clearly under a lot of pressure for the more. And Springboks goes for a third line out on the 5-meter line, goes for a more again, and then this time Argentina holds, but Springboks gets the ball out. Couple quick crash balls. Hendrickson gets the ball at the breakdown, looks up, a huge gap in front of him, just right in front of the goalpost, invites, like the parting of the Red Sea, inviting him through the goalpost. He runs straight through, puts the ball down. Try time. Hendrickson gets his well-deserved try on the 27th minute, and the scoreboard gets the Springboks what is it? 15 points to 6. On the 32nd minute, there was more dominance for the Springboks at the breakdown, getting another penalty. They kicked the ball out for a 10-meter Springbok line out. This time, they executed the more perfectly. Argentina was obviously a little bit scared to give away more penalties for another yellow card. Perfectly executed. And they basically just maul through. Malcolm Marx at the end, perfect, good body position, low, and keep the ball going and plant the ball down as he sees the try line. 6 points to 22. Valemsa misses the conversion here. So the Springboks, 6 points to 22 going into halftime. Just before halftime, on the 40th minute, Springboks almost had an opportunity to score another try. Once again, Springboks were pounding treasure into the Argentina half. Looks like the Argentinians were just giving away way too many penalties. Springboks goes for another line out, goes for another maul, and the ball didn't go forward, but the ball comes out. Sia Khaleesi runs to the ball, tries to do a short ball to Malcolm Marx, and then the ball gets knocked on. But the Argentinians gets caught offside, and the referee says enough is enough, issues another yellow card. The number 9, Betronal, gets yellow carded and sends off the field. Springboks sends another opportunity for a try, goes for a 5-meter scrum, center field scrum, just in front of the goalpost. Ball comes out. They, what happened here? The ball comes out. They try to crash the ball over the Springboks. Yeah. So the Springboks gets really close, but there was no try. So the referee had another penalty advantage. Springboks kicks the ball out for another line out, a 5-meter line out. Now the clock is 42 minutes into the red. So the ball throws over to the line out. I think it was Diacha jumps up to catch the ball. He knocks the ball for one hand. He fails to catch it. And then the other hand, he knocks the ball back. So you clearly look like he knocked the ball back. And the loose ball gets scooped up by, I think he might have been, who was it? Might have been, yeah, anyway, one of the Springboks players scoops the ball up, crashes the ball over. Looked like it was going to be a try. Maybe it was a Jasper Wiese, I think, who scooped the ball up. But the referee deemed this a knock-on. So this was a little bit of an interesting decision here, because the ball was backwards when he came off his hand. But why did the referee say it was knock-on? Because the player basically knocked the ball from his left hand forward, and then he used his right hand to knock the ball back. So that is technically a knock-on, because if you knock the ball forward, you have to catch the ball for this to be not deemed a knock-on. You can't just knock the ball backwards. Just so like an example, in an extreme example, if I was to talk about, like say if a ball, a player it's receiving a pass, right, and the ball hits the player on the chest, and he tries to catch it, and the ball ricochets up forward, right? And the player runs up to try to catch the ball, and instead of catching it, he like flicked the ball backwards. He pats the ball backwards. That is still a knock-on, because once the ball has gone forward from the player, bouncing off the player's chest and touching his hand, the player must catch the ball. He can't just pat the ball backwards, and that's still a knock-on, because the ball has traveled forward from the initial point of receiving the ball. That's basically what happened here. It's very minor, because you basically go from one hand to the other, but that is the ruling here. So it is a little bit confusing, but that is the right decision here made by the referee. On the second half, the 4 minutes into the second half, Argentina there was a bit of back and forth, both the teams. Argentina gets a nice intercept. They run down the side of the line, and then the Springboks, I swear to God, the referee says penalty advantage offside, and then Argentina spreads the ball out wide to try to use the penalty advantage, and then the referee immediately says advantage over. That has to be the world record for the shortest penalty advantage I've ever seen. The Argentina didn't even get a single phase out of this penalty advantage on the 44th minute. So I was like, what the hell is happening here? So Argentina was able to, again, try to execute that little grubber kick behind, try to park the ball inside the Springboks goal line, forcing for Springboks goal line dropout, successfully doing so on the 45th minute of the game. In the 48th minute, Julian Montoya catches the ball offside after his teammate knocked on the ball forward, gets a penalty, and then immediately, Eben Esbeth makes the same mistake, catches the ball, he passes the ball to Diarra, he bounced off Diarra, didn't back to him, and he catches the ball in offside position. As well, so both players make the same mistakes back to back. The Springboks at this point started bringing on the bench, and it's a really interesting setup for the Springboks 4-packet here as well. So the Springboks had Alright Lowe at number 8. They had Huaga Smith at number 7, and they had Dion Fourie at number 6. So, considering the Springboks place 6 is technically like the open side, so interesting to see that they favored Fourie at the open side position over Smith at 7, right? Smith is more, maybe Smith was at 6. But anyway, let me know about the setup. So, Fourie was on in replacement for Sia Khaleesi, but he may have gone to the blind side. But anyway, that's kind of like the setup for the Springboks with the bench. So having that Fourie as an extra loose forward, the Springboks is able to replace the entire loosies, before the end of the game, which is a really, really interesting strategy there. On the 57th minute, Argentina starting to put a ton of pressure on the Springboks with some good hands, a lot of, starting to show a lot of that razzle-dazzle that I was talking about. They get a penalty. They go for a 5-meter line-out maul. The maul was no good. Argentina start pounding the try line. The ball passes and hits the referee on the head. Argentina hits the referee on the head. And the referee kind of felt sorry for this. And it was like, all right, we're going to go for a scrum because he hit me on the head. And then the scrum comes down. Argentina piling on pressure again. Referee, again, issues a penalty advantage for offside. And then suddenly, maybe because the referee felt like the ball hit him in the head, he felt bad for Argentina. I don't know. He issues a yellow card against Villarreal for repeated penalties. Yeah. On the 60th minute, another scrum for Argentina. There was 10 meters out from the Springbok try line. There was a nice little short ball from, again, like I was talking about, that short ball from Materas to, I think it might be Julian Montoya. Knock on. Huge wasted opportunity for Argentina. Kind of like the story of the day. On the 63rd minute, Argentina gets a huge scrum penalty and they kick the ball out. And this is a huge, absolute just scrum turnover. They kick the ball out for a 22-meter line out. Few phases later, what is it? The Thomas Lavanini gets tackled without the ball. He kind of milks it as well on the ground. A little bit, definitely milked it a bit. And then basically, the TMO calls the referee and says, hey, Lavanini got tackled without a ball. That's a penalty. And the referee agrees with TMO decision despite the Labanini the ball was basically passed behind him, and Labanini was in no position to catch this ball. So that's basically a wrong decision by the TMO, which overruled the decision on the field on the referee. So TMO basically overruled the referee's decision with the wrong decision here on the field. On the 68th minute, another scrum advantage for offside against the Springboks. Another scrum for the Argentina. Following the scrum, the Springboks gets caught offside again, and this is where Julian Matea. So Damien Valencia gets hit in the head. He's like out. So the referee calls for a water break. Julian Matea has a chat with the referee, tells him that, hey, you're giving us a penalty. Springboks had a penalty try early in the half for repeated penalties. You're going to have to start considering a penalty tries or another yellow card. And the referee seems to have taken the advice of Julian Montoya. So the very next play, the neck roll incidents occurred with Huaga Smith. Basically jumps on the player that was diving for the try line and then tackles him and then rolls him over the try line to save the try. In the process, touching the player's head. Referee, I thought this was just a penalty at most, right? Just a penalty at most because it's very, no level of danger, not just low level. No danger involved. Unfortunate touch of the head, just a penalty. But the referee deemed that this was, he had illegally stopped the Argentinians from scoring a try, despite the fact that he was tackled short, regardless. I don't know how he could have scored without deeming the double movement anyway. But anyway, he said that was, he had illegally stopped the try. Therefore, the player was tackled short. And then he was rolled over the try line. So, I don't know how that works. I don't know how you can come to that conclusion. But, penalty try. This was horrendous. It was so bad, they cut the camera to the coaching box. Michael Cheika was shaking his head. His team just got a penalty try, and Michael Cheika was shaking his head. Nobody was celebrating. Everybody was just shaking his head in the Argentinian coaching box. That tells you how bad this decision was from the referee. So on the 68th minute, Argentina starting to show a lot of ascendancy. Marcus Kramer gets the ball again. They did that short inside ball from Kramer to their number 13, who was what? Betranol? Not Betranol. Betranol's number 9, number 13. Matias Orlando runs straight through try time. I'm pretty sure it's Orlando, not Moroni. But anyway, it says here Moroni, he runs straight in for the try. This time it worked. A nice little gap opened up, goes in for a try. This looked like a bit of a forward pass, but it's really hard to judge, to be fair. One camera angle looked like it was a forward pass. Another camera angle looked like it's perfectly fine. Like I said, the camera angles sometimes can make things look deceiving. For example, if I do this, right? Like it looks like I'm hitting myself in the chin because the camera angle is showing that I'm hitting. But in reality, I'm nowhere near touching my own chin when I do this, right? Like I'm quite a bit of distance, but the camera angle looks like I'm potentially hitting myself in the chin. So sometimes the camera angle can play deceiving. So the referee on the field said it was okay, and I think then it's okay. So there's no really need to argue about the camera angles because of how deceiving it can be. At this point, Francois Stang, the Springboks is now 2 points ahead, starting to look a bit dangerous. The crowd is going crazy, and it's time for the big guns to step up. Francois Stang once again showed his experience, showed his veterancy. Some of the big players like Eben Esbeth turning the ball over the breakdown, really like diffusing a lot of that energy that Argentina is starting to build at this point. So on the 22nd minute, on the 70th minute, Argentina gets a 22-meter line out, attacking line out, really good opportunity. The ball gets turned over by Eben Esbeth. On the 70th, was it Eben Esbeth? It gets turned over by the Springboks. Following the more gets turned over by the Springboks. On the 71st minute, a minute later, another breakdown. Eben Esbeth gets the penalty for the Springboks. On the 72nd minute, the Springboks goes for a 22-meter line out. They go for the more. The more just work perfectly. The more peels off, the roll off to the side. The South Africans were entering from, the Argentinians were entering from the side to try to stop this more. Gets penalized for offside. The 4 packs really start lifting the energy for the Springboks. Springboks goes for another 5-meter line out. The camera actually picks up the line out call, and you can hear it very clearly on TV, the line out call from the Springbok team. And then the Argentinians get penalty again for side entry. No yellow cards this time, but Argentina, the Springboks goes for another line out, and this time the ball comes out. They just build hard phases. Damien Delende eventually gets the ball center field. Just big, hard, powerful leg drive. Puts him over for try on the 74th minute. The game played on. Springboks clearly now, showed a change in mentality, wanting that bonus point win. Starting to put on even more pressure, despite they're now in a comfortable lead with, 10 points lead now. Still want more. So the Argentina was desperately trying to run the ball out of their 50, trying to get themselves back in the scoreboard. Francois Steyn gets tackled for a lifting tackle, gets penalized. So Argentina, on the 77th minute, gets a 22-meter line out. Basically, their last chance to potentially score a try and maybe, steal the game in an extra time. 3 phases later, Dion Fury, the veteran, turns the ball. The veteran / rookie, the oldest rookie in the world, turns the ball over the breakdown. Huge turnover. Huge turnover. They look like a bit of a high tackle for the referee, like I was mentioning before. The camera angle might show a high tackle. The fans were not happy. But the referee on the field said it was on the shoulder and did not touch the head. So then it was fine with me. On the 79th minute, the Springboks, goes for a more just inside the Argentina 50, goes for a line out, goes for a more. And then they just start building phases just inside Argentina side. And slowly but surely, the Argentinians are going back. And suddenly the Springboks found some space out wide. They spread the ball out. 2 hookers, Dion Fury to Malcolm Marx. Malcolm Marx to Marco Zulema Pimpi on the wing. He runs down the sideline with a bit of space. He was about to get tackled. Throws the ball back inside. Malcolm Marx juggles the ball a little bit. Catches the ball. Runs in for the try. Bonus point win for the Springboks. Yeah. On the dot on the 80th minute. 36 points to 20. Francois Steyn kicks this ball as well from the sideline. And that is the way the game ended. Yeah, let me know your thoughts about this game. I thought this was a really, really good change in strategy for the Springboks. I thought Argentina showed a lot of good attacking, but maybe need to work on a bit on their depths in their attack. But yeah, very interesting. The Rugby Championship is still alive for the Springboks. And hopefully, if you support the Wallabies, maybe they don't lose by 200 points against the All Blacks at Eden Park next weekend. You might win the championship. You might. It all comes down to point differential potentially in the next weekend. So thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate you being here. Like, comment, and subscribe, yada, yada, yada. I'll see you guys next week for the news. Cheers.